as part of the reason why he had to back away. I think, like, you can't be saying this shit and still expect to make as much money as you did. Like, there are a lot of people that will get very upset at this. Anyway, having said that, a message to progressive Jews. Did you just send me your own fucking video?
Design.
Okay, well, I'll watch it. Fuck it. But before I watch this, or while I'm watching this, I am going to run a 1-minute ad break here because I forgot to run it at the top of the hour, and we are already at the top of the hour, boys. So there's a 60-second ad break incoming. If you no longer want to see the ads, obviously you already know what a deal is. You already know what to do. You can subscribe. You can do it for free with a Twitch Prime. And yeah, we'll watch promo from this person who has a message to Jews about Zionism. And here is the 1-minute ad break now. And then I'm going to talk about the housing market in a little bit too.
Progressive Jews, leftist Jews, hell, even self-described anti-Zionist Jews like myself. You're fucking this up.
God damn, this dude's voice is sexy as fuck. Never mind. I was not expecting this. Like, he does not look like he's got a voice like that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? Where I was just like expecting him not to have like such a silky ass voice, dude.
Let me be more emphatic. You are fucking this the fuck up. It's almost as if you don't realize that Israel wanted you to entirely shift the conversation away from Gaza and occupation. Either you're fucking stupid or you're fucking lying. And honestly, I just need you to be fucking stupid right now, because if you're lying, then I'm gonna fucking lose it. You know, we were on the verge, and maybe we still are, of a moral awakening about the atrocities Israel inflicts upon the Palestinian people. And all it took was a couple of incidents of anti-Semitism in the U.S. to knock that shit right out of the frame. Now, anti-Semitism is terrible, but welcome to fucking being Jewish. You want egg cream? And it shouldn't happen to us ever, but right now, all of your tripping over yourselves to make it look like you're so serious about anti-Semitism has just made the narrative about us. And worse yet, has put Palestinian people on the spot to denounce acts they have no responsibility for. While some of them are mourning the losses of families, neighborhoods, and you're probably saying, well, we can care about both, right? I mean, if that were the case, I don't think we'd be in this fucking position to begin with. But that aside, what's most relevant is that the reason that Israel and its defenders want you to perform concern about anti-Semitism isn't because they want to stop it. They just want you to talk less about Gaza. They want you to also unwittingly connect anti-Semitism to Palestinian activism. That's what they want you to do. And you think you can manage the narrative or out-navigate the Israeli PR machine. You fucking can't. You haven't. And you got fucking played. And let's talk about why there might, God only knows, why there might be an uptick in anti-Semitic sentiment right now. The Jewish homeland. And they also hammer that message, assassinates Iranian scientists. Maybe it has something to fucking do with the apartheid state that brutalizes and displaces Palestinians, that devastated Lebanon, that assassinates Iranian scientists in our fucking name as the Jewish state. And I've seen some leftists be like, well, don't use what Israel does to Palestinians as an excuse to be anti-Semitic. The entire fucking world, let alone Palestinians, have been told for decades by political, cultural, and journalistic figures that Israel is the uncontested Jewish state, the Jewish homeland.
Yeah, it's always, look, I've talked about this before as well. It's like when someone who is an avowed Zionist, who's like an Israeli Jew, says the exact same thing that someone who is not a Zionist or an anti-Zionist says, it's literally considered anti-Semitic. If you are to say that all Jews unconditionally support Israel, and you yourself are not Israeli and a Zionist or whatever, or even Jewish, you are considered anti-Semitic. And that is an anti-Semitic sentiment. Okay? But the exact same thing is oftentimes said by ultra-Zionists. Not even ultra-Zionists. Like, a lot of people say that. And it's considered to be completely acceptable. When the American writers and whatnot get excited about the IDF training American police forces, that's a brilliant moment for American and Israeli relationships, right? But when I say it, it's blood libel. Like, motherfuckers will be like, it's blood libel that you mentioned that, the IDF trains the American police force. Like, that's crazy. But you just said it last week and you were promoting it. So it is like this very weird double standard where you are always trapped. Where you are always trapped in a losing argument. I just ended the dono. Sorry. Why do people want to ruin TTS for the rest of us? I don't know. So, don't Zionists call Bernie a traitor just because he doesn't support Israel? Yeah. He's going into victim blaming here? No, I think what he's going to try to say is that the reason why motherfuckers can't separate between, and you're right though, I do think that, like, no matter what, anti-Semitism is unacceptable, unconditionally, straight up. But I think what he's trying to say is it creates more anti-Semitic behavior in people when you're connecting those dots on your own. Like, when you're willingly connecting those dots. And even then, it doesn't matter, because the fault in that circumstance still lies on the person who is doing the anti-Semitic action.
And they also hammer that message home by saying that criticism of Israel, not even anti-Zionism, is anti-Semitic. So if Palestinians and others impacted by Israel are told that it's the Jewish state that represents all Jews while entire fucking families are being wiped out in Gaza, what the fuck do you expect them to feel toward us? A schoolgirl crush? Whimsical curiosity?
Yeah. So the thing is, like, and I've mentioned this before, like, most people that have not been brought up with a sea of propaganda that is like, you have to always support Israel uncritically, unconditionally, always support Israel. Most people that haven't been raised that way are not going to look to this situation and be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I think, like, I think what's going on here is right and just. Like, you have to take that into consideration. What did Pokelaw say? Hassan, you better hang out with me. Yell at him to hang out with me when he's in Austin, or I'm mad. Of course I'm going to hang out with you, motherfucker. What does this take, dude? Obviously. Israel and the Zionist movement designed this trap intentionally. It shields the state from criticism because they can say you are being anti-Semitic. When you criticize Israel because you definitionally are, to be a citizen, you must be Jewish. Yeah. What's really fucked up is, like, the rise in anti-Semitism isn't just attributed to, like, what's going on in the past 2 weeks. That's what's psychotic about this. Like, the single largest anti-Semitic attack on U.S. soil occurred a couple years ago, guys. It was one of the, in modern history, it is the single largest anti-Semitic hate crime. The Pittsburgh synagogue shooting happened not that long ago. Anti-Semitism has been a problem in Western society in perpetuity. It has always been an issue. Originally, it was used to justify pogroms against the Jews, expulsion and murder, and forced conversions Whether you look to Spain or Portugal or Russia or any other fucking place where Jews live. That's why there's a lot of intergenerational trauma within the shared history of Jews. Okay? That's why there's a lot of Jewish people that are just like always terrified that, you know, there is an enemy combatant. Like that at any given moment, someone could just pop off and be like super fucking anti-Semitic. And there's also truth to that. Okay? But you have to separate that. If you are an honest broker, you have to fucking separate. Yeah, anti-Semitic violence went right up right after Trump was elected. Yet the Israeli government loves Trump, and Republicans, they're awful at willing to sell out Jews abroad to the right-wing mob. Yeah, they are. And they do. And they do. Just like Netanyahu is partnered up with like actual fucking anti-Semites who run anti-Semitic campaigns like Orban. So the issue is weaponizing like legitimate claims of anti-Semitism as a deflection, like drawing it up like a shield in an instance where something that should be completely separated from being Jewish, the actions of a fucking nation state, turn around and use that as a way to be like, oh, well, you know, anti-Semitism is on the rise. Sorry, can't talk about fucking... of course, anti-Semitism is awful, but I'm having a hard time understanding why calling out Israeli Jews that are persecuting Palestinians makes you anti-Semitic. I'm not generalizing to all Jews. Someone is making an assumption about what I'm saying. It seems ridiculous. I mean, because the idea is that, like, no matter what, like, you should not be considering, like, every single person in Israel to be a part of a monolith. And you should also recognize that a lot of that comes from their programming. Like, what are you going to do? I mean, there's people in here right now that probably grew up with this understanding that only recently changed their minds on the subject. Feel me? This is going to give me brain cancer. I already know. It's like calling people anti-American for calling out American war crimes, crimes against humanity. I mean, it's like if you're an American living abroad, okay? And it doesn't matter if you fucking agree with America's actions or not, and someone just beats the shit out of you because of what America did in Iraq. And you're like, well, what the fuck? I hate the American government, and I hate that, like it's like me. If I went back to Turkey and someone fucking came up to me and were like, aren't you fucking American, you piece of shit, and started beating the shit out of me. Now, I know chat's gonna meme about it, but, like, that's unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so, well, the reality is, if I went back to Turkey, I think there's other issues that Turkish people would have with my rhetoric and things I've said on this broadcast before we get to, you know, just anything else. I see the fucking comments on Twitter, dude. Motherfucker with his, like, he doesn't deny Armenian genocide, bro. Come to Turkey, I'll show you what, bro. Anyway. The second anti-Semitic people come out of the woodwork using Palestinian support as a justification for the disgusting behavior, Israel and its supporters jump on it to call themselves a victim. Yeah, it's just like the actions of a few, or even a lot of people, the actions of a lot of people in a movement does not delegitimize the overarching opinion or the overarching slant of justice in that circumstance. Okay? Mehdi called you out? What did he say? Let's see what he said. I want to know. Mehdi Hassan? I doubt it. But I want to see what Mehdi Hassan had to say about Mark Ruffalo's statement, actually. Because I think he, like, defended... The truth is that Mark Ruffalo has done more to highlight and amplify the plight of Palestinians, Native Americans, Iraqis, Baha'is, and low-income Americans than most other celebrities, and also the most online armchair warriors slamming him as a sellout, etc. on Twitter today. He's right about that. For sure. He has. That's why I like him a lot, and I was very disappointed. As I tried to explain to my own Pakistan-based trolls last week, you can disagree with a single tweet or statements without going all "you're dead to me" and "you're a sellout" and ignoring an entire life, career, body of work which doesn't fit your lazy black and white narrative. That's the part I don't like. Because it's not fucking like a lazy black and white narrative. Here's Mark Ruffalo rightly referring to apartheid in the occupied territories in an interview with me last year. People on the left and in pro-Palestinian circles loved him then. That doesn't think it's genocide doesn't make him a turncoat. Sigh. Okay. Here's the thing. I want to know. I mean, maybe I'll DM him about this, but maybe does Mehdi Hassan not think that the remember when you interviewed Mehdi on Agitprop about Palestine? I did. In regards to BDS boycott divestment, dude, I really need to get a haircut. Like, I see the way I look here, and I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, oh God, I need a haircut so bad.
Sanctions movement in America, partially because of progressive Muslims like Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar.
Palestinians don't have to be saints in order to deserve the basic rights that all of us take for granted, right? Miftah has said things that I disagree with. They made an anti-Semitic statement that they apologized for. The point is, when you go there, I say this as an American Jew. My children go to Jewish day school. I lead services in an Orthodox synagogue. Judaism is the center of my life. The first time I went to spend time with Palestinians in the West Bank, it was a shattering experience. The only thing I could imagine would be similar for American would be going to visit the Jim Crow South. When you see people living under the control of the state with no rights, they cannot become citizens. They cannot vote for the state that controls their lives. They do not have free movement. They need a pass to move from city to city. They live under a military legal system. The consequences are more brutal than we can imagine sitting here. So do I agree with Miftah? Of course not. I had a close friend who was killed in a suicide bombing. But Palestinians don't. You could have made the same argument if you went to visit SNCC and said, oh, they were connected with communists. Some of their people have made anti-white statements. The point is, what Ilhan Omar said is the most important point. People need to go and see for themselves. I've never seen anyone who's gone and seen for themselves and not been transformed by the experience.
So I know you have some thoughts about this, so let's hear it. I mean, this is remarkable. This is a radical change in the Overton window shifting right in front of our eyes, where CNN is discussing the conditions in which Palestinian people living in the West Bank are subject to these horrific conditions, horrific living conditions by the state of Israel, America's greatest ally and the only democracy in the Middle East, if you ask Republicans and even liberals.
Very much so. I mean, it's definitely shifting. Some would say this has been a pivotal moment in the debate over Israel-Palestine, definitely in my lifetime, definitely in my career of watching American politics and following American foreign policy on the Middle East. And it has come as a direct result. The reason Peter Boehner can go on CNN and talk in that way, and credit to Peter, good for him for doing that, is because Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar opened this conversation. And actually, in a way, they didn't even open it. It's because that they were attacked. Here's what's so amusing and ironic in this whole depressing, bleak situation. It's because of the vicious attacks on Ilhan and Rashida from the right, from supporters of Netanyahu and Trump, that actually has emboldened them to really push on this issue, much more than they did when they were elected. I remember when they were elected just last year. We weren't hearing any of this stuff. I mean, they were saying this stuff. A lot of us had high expectations that Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib.
Nose job? Oh, dude, I definitely have some fucking weirdo incels, dude. Why the fuck would I get a nose job? You motherfuckers will see, like, motherfuckers see my eye bags from not sleeping because I'm like working insane hours and be like, oh, it must be a nose job. Straight incel shit, my guy. Boom. Gone.
In the Middle East, if you ask.
elected. I remember when they were elected just last year. We weren't hearing any of this stuff. I mean, they were saying this stuff. A lot of us had high expectations that Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, having a Palestinian American woman, having a Muslim woman in a headscarf in Congress would change the conversation. But the irony is, it's because of the bad faith attacks on them, the disingenuous attacks, the smears, accusing them of being anti-Semites, accusing them of being supporters of terrorism, accusing them of being anti-American. It's always that put the spotlight on them and then backfired, because you put the spotlight on two women.
The guy just made a question, dude. All right, I'm gonna give you 1 hour. If you don't recognize, like, listen, do you want me to do like 11-hour stun locks on fucking dumbass chatters who are 100% going to start off with like a little trickle in, like, is that a nose job, and then like continue to fucking ramp it up until I'm literally crying for fucking an hour, and you're in the chat like, please stop the stun lock, please stop the stun lock. No, that's why I banned him, and I'm moving on. There's a lot of new trolls in the fucking stream for some reason, and I don't know what it is, but I can tell. And I know when someone is like new around these parts. And that's why I'm just like preemptively banning them.
Who weren't going to take this shit. And we're actually going to come out and hold a press conference as they did yesterday and speak emotionally, passionately in that way to humanize the Palestinian people, to humanize refugees in the way that Ilhan and Rashid has done. So the attacks on them have backfired from Trump downwards. I know that Donald Trump and his advisors think this is going to be our election campaign. And yes, it will help them energize their racist MAGA base. I get all that. But in the long run, this has opened doors and made people there are people, there are centrists. Let's go back to the liberals, Hassan. There are liberal supporters of Israel, the PEPs, the progressives except Palestine, the people who are lefty on every issue except when it comes to Israel. There are those people who want it to be a bipartisan issue. They don't want to say anything more than, I support a two-state solution. We'll have that one day with a peace process. And they don't want to have this uncomfortable conversation about occupation, about boycotts, about the dehumanization of Palestinian people, both in the Middle East and here in the United States. And these guys, these two women, by doing this, have totally transformed the conversation. And I'm not sure that liberal supporters of Israel can put the genie back in the bottle now.
Yeah. Speaking,
I mean, this was like,
of which, by the way,
this was kind of predictive of the future. Like we had this conversation back on August 23rd, 2019. August 23rd, 2019. And we were talking about the changing tides. And now, I hate to change subject, but what would you do if Ilhan Omar, being the only Democrat to vote against sanctions on Turkey? Okay, then don't change the subject. You don't hate to change the subject. Here, take a day off. Think about what you did.
Way. Speaking of like anti-Semitism coming from the right that often falls on deaf ears by those people like Ben Shapiro who constantly claim that like everyone's being anti-Semitic. Yeah, Trump is a gigantic anti-Semite. Recently, while we were having this conversation, a few minutes before we went live, Trump said on Omar and Tlaib, any Jewish people that vote for a Democrat, I think that either shows a total lack of knowledge or great disloyalty. So 75% of American Jews who vote Democrat are either ignorant and or disloyal, which, by the way, literally dual loyalty, which is anti-Semitic trope. Yeah. But again, if you're a friend to Israel, if you're a supporter of Israel, you can say as much anti-Semitic shit as you want, and it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. Anyone who is in opposition to Israel, though, any sort of criticism will immediately be considered anti-Semitic. Anyway, this very trope came up in 2000 when Lieberman was on the ballot. How is it anti-Semitic when Ben Shapiro has said the same thing? Bad Jews, KW. Oh, that's it. That's fucking anti-Semitic. Thank you for nuking the people that are like different voice, different voice. Yes, different voice sounds different on different microphones, chatters. This is how it works. Yes, I am familiar that there's a Channel 5 video. It's right here. We will watch it eventually. Please shut the fuck up. Okay?
There was some other shit that I wanted to say about fucking this Mark Ruffalo situation, but I guess this is all I have for the time being, okay? Like, how does it feel to have 30,000 children? It's usually wonderful. It's oftentimes wonderful. I'm incredibly fucking fortunate. Incredibly fortunate that I have we've all been able to build a community like this that is tolerant, that is open-minded, that cares about the plight of marginalized peoples, that also fucking regulates relatively well. Of course, much of that has to do with our sick moderation team as well. So I'm. It is good. I think it's great. I mean, there's a fuckload of trolling that goes on here, which sucks, but open-minded hates British people, though. This is true. Just kidding. I love British people. I'm literally in the process of interviewing a Brit right here. British person.
That is anti-Semitism.
That is Shapiro, indeed.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro's done this too.
You mentioned Shapiro. He said the similar things. Yeah, if you're not a real Jew, if you're a liberal or a leftist. Well, it's interesting about Trump. First of all, let me say two things in response to that tweet, which I hadn't seen. The two things I would say is, number one, with Trump, it's always projection, right? Whenever he says something, it's really related to him.
Yeah.
So when he says, oh, if you're anti-Semitic, voting for Democrat, actually it's the exact reverse. You would argue anyone who votes for Donald Trump and the Republican Party in this age of white nationalism, in an age where people are going into synagogues and shooting them, and we now have Republican talking points leaked to the press, which show that they're told not to talk about white nationalism at all and just talk about the left, basically endangering Jews in synagogues across the United States. Yeah, why would you vote for that party when you have people like Steve Scalise who says I'm David Duke without the baggage, when you have people like Kevin McCarthy who says Jewish billionaires are trying to buy the Democratic elections, when you have people like Louis Gohmert who's obsessed with George Soros, or Matt Gaetz who invites Holocaust terrorists to State of the Union. That is the modern Republican Party. It's basically a white nationalist party now. So yes, I would ask why the 25% of Jews who vote Republican still vote Republican. But what's interesting is the second point I'd make, Hassan, is this is not a new conversation. The Republicans for several years now have been trying to peel off American Jews and get them to vote Republican. We saw that with Romney. We saw that. Remember when Huckabee said Barack Obama is leading Jews to the oven? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Also, fucking Bibi Netanyahu literally was just like kept routinely saying, because of the Iran denuclearization deal, which was probably Barack Obama's signature foreign policy accomplishment, that he was an incredible threat to Israel's existence, the most anti-Semitic fucking administration ever, despite the fact that the Biden-Obama Democrat literally turned around and gave Bibi Netanyahu and Israel $38 billion on their way out.
Yeah. Ridiculous, cheapening the Holocaust there. No one called him an anti-Semite at the time on the right. That was all part of this obsession with why are these Jews voting for Barack Obama when he's throwing Israel under the bus? He wasn't throwing Israel under the bus. He gave Israel more weapons than any president in modern history. But also, he also got more votes. I think this is true. He got more votes, Barack Obama, from Jews than any human being in the history of mankind. No human being on earth has had no Israeli prime minister has had more Jewish votes than Barack Obama got. So it didn't work with Obama. I don't think it's going to work with the next presidential candidate. I will laugh my head off if Bernie Sanders is a Democratic presidential candidate and Trump decides to use anti-Semitism as his card against the first Jewish presidential candidate in American history.
100% that's coming. I mean, there is a reason why you can tie a direct line, like you can draw a direct line from cultural Bolshevism and cultural Marxism, which are fascist dog whistles historically used and created by Nazis, to the modern day Republican Party and their messaging and how similar it is. Sometimes literally the exact same.
By the way, remember Democratic Majority for Israel PAC was the first super PAC that attacked Bernie Sanders and literally attacked them. Created by the same people that fucking, this is why I'm a bravophobic person, by the way. Created by the same people that fucking criticize Corbyn in the UK, that turned around and like built the Democratic Majority for Israel PAC to criticize Bernie Sanders and call him anti-Semitic. They did that.
When they talk about
Soros.
Yeah, George Soros. It's like immigration is a Jewish conspiracy to destroy like Western civilization or destroy like white heteromasculinity or heteronormativity in this country. Like these are Nazi ideals, and it's brought up to the mainstream. And a lot of people benefit from, like a lot of white nationalists and Nazis benefit from the white supremacy that is a part of our institutions, that has historically been a part of our institutions, and the white nativist messaging that you hear from our institutions right now, whether it be media or literal politicians.
I don't know who that dude in the Hawaiian shirt is, but he's spitting. Yeah, dude, he really is. Who the fuck is that guy?
What's so interesting about Trump and Netanyahu is that they've done so much to mainstream white supremacy and are so unapologetic about it that in fact they've pushed probably more American Jews away from the Republican Party, and they've pushed more Americans in general away from Israel. So I said this the other night when I think I was on MSNBC, and I made this point. I said Trump and Netanyahu are the greatest recruiting sergeants for BDS and the boycott movement. That's the great irony. By making Israel a partisan, not a bipartisan issue, by being so nakedly colonial and racist in their approach to the Palestinians and the entire Middle East, it basically, the cover's off. And it forces those liberals who head behind this whole two-state solution, which is no longer on the cards, to really come out and say, well, where do you stand on Palestinian human rights? Why are you opposing Trumpian racism at home, but okay with Netanyahu in racism abroad?
Yeah, no, that's always been a remarkable dichotomy where it's like, but it happens. It happens with neoliberal justifications of the exploitation of the global poor as well. If it's exploitation abroad, then liberals who normally would be like, what are we doing about the American working class? Like, what about the white working class? Will quite frequently engage in practices that directly justify the wholesale exploitation of the global poor, and that's fine because it's abroad. It's liberation for me, but not for thee. Kind of similar to how traditional conservatives, right, or tradcast, traditional Catholics, and like a lot of these right-wing nationalists or these right-wing radicals who want traditionalist values for the white people that they consider to be a part of their in-group, but then will turn around and use that traditionalism to attack Muslims and say, well, they're just not integrating. They're just not integrating fast enough into our culture. Exactly. It's like, what do you mean? Ilhan Omar is like defending trans rights when the Republican administration is doing everything they can to attack trans people to make their lives much worse in this country, whether it be like the trans military ban or like fighting against the Obama era rules that allowed trans people to seek shelter in homeless shelters, like undoing that rule, or allowing medical professionals on religious reasons to stop treating trans individuals or members of the LGBT community. These are all right-wing ideas. And ironically, they are similar to the fundamentalist right-wing conservative Muslims, which a lot of liberals try to paint the entirety of the Muslim religion, entirety of Islam and followers of Islam as. So, it's a weird situation.
No, I wasn't using contact lenses. I just don't. I literally just hate the way that I used to hate the way that I look with glasses. I still kind of do, but I just got used to it. So I would never wear glasses, and I just wouldn't see. Close your fab top. That's my old fab top. So, speaking of fucking horrible tweets, okay, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to do it to him. Sorry, Jank. Okay, sorry, Uncle, but god damn, dude, this shit is so bad. I'm just gonna briefly mention it because it's so whack. Okay. Where is it? Where is it? Oh my god, he is just like. Wait, Hank Green deleted his tweet. He responded to Hank Green. Okay, well, before we do that, I don't know what the fuck the Hank Green tweet was because he deleted it, but here you go, boys. Jank. He goes, Israelis and Palestinians kill each other over which sky god they pretend to speak to, and it's politically incorrect to point out that there is no human god, let alone one that favors Jews or Muslims. All this violence over the equivalent of which character they like better in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this is like straight up. Not only is this like a r/atheist take, which is why so many fucking idiots in my chat are like, base, 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 base. You sound like Sam Harris. I love you. But also, it is so insanely reductive to claim that this is like a conflict that is simply about religion, okay, and religious beliefs. But the worst offense here, aside from, you know, the random MCU mention, okay, is Israelis and Palestinians kill each other over which sky god, as though there is like as though these are two competing forces that have the same like near equal power in this conflict. Like, as though it's just like Palestinians are like, yo, fuck Jews because they believe in Judaism, like that's why we want to kill them. And then Israel's like, fuck Muslims because they believe in Allah and that's why we want to kill them. And they're like killing one another over and over again. Is this more about land, power, and colonialism? Of course, I already had and won that debate with Sam Harris many years ago. But if you think both sides don't fervently believe they're supported by the sky god that doesn't drive them, you're kidding yourself. Terrible, terrible fucking take, and doesn't even address what I was saying. This is not an equal, like, this is not a both sides issue. Okay? You can have, like, yes, are there religious justifications made by members of both sides? Certainly. Okay? But the Palestinian plight is not, we own this land because this land should be given to the Muslims. The Palestinian plight revolves around the Israeli colonization. The Israeli colonial project is murdering us. Please stop occupying this territory and murdering my fucking family. Okay? That's so, it's so silly. Dayı means uncle in Turkish. I just said uncle ... It's so strange that he made a comment like this. Like it's like, it just reeks of like, I just watched Religulous and now I'm fucking woke. Like my mind expanded to unfathomable levels. You know what I mean? Straight up like a 2007 r/atheist edgelord. And you've all been there. Some of you are still there, which is why you're like, based. What a base take. It's like literally Bill Maher type beat. This is a Bill Maher type fucking joke. For what it matters, my dayah used to step outside the dining room to fart loudly as if we couldn't hear him. We all pretended we hadn't. However, just in case, mother of the pillow. Okay, I'm not gonna murder my uncle. I still love him, but ever feel like you should leave a tweet in the drafts overnight and see how you feel about it in the morning? Don had a really funny take. I can understand your frustration as a person from that region, so I won't make fun of your joke. Not my place to correct you, even though I'm a Christian. My God tells me this is the worst tweet of all time. Anyway, it's just like, why do people defend religion? I don't get it. Religion plays a role in this conflict, but my criticism of this tweet is that my criticism of this fucking tweet is not even about like how religion takes center stage in the conflict. It's as though like Muslim Palestinians are trying to murder Jewish Israelis because they're Jewish, and not that like one side is literally fucking doing apartheid and genocide. Okay? It's just crazy. You think the IDF won't kill Palestinians if they're atheists? Yeah, like... Delete Reddit from your uncle's phone. I give you my blessing to steal that for a tweet. Religion bad, guys. We got it. Religion bad, boys. You fucking did it. You saved it. You saved the region. You stopped the conflict. Anyway, it's just fucking annoying. What was the Hank Green tweet that he actually responded to, I wonder? Everyone on cable news all day, so-called journalists, are engaged in absurd kabuki theater where they claim politicians and principles engage in debate. Okay, that's true. Did the Abrahamic God not know about the Chinese, or did he not care? What? If Biden doesn't try to lower prescription drug prices, there's no nuance left in the world, let alone on Twitter. You either think Biden's going to be the next FDR, and we just have to be patient with him, probably until his term is over, or you think, haha, I should have voted for Trump, as if Trump is going to cancel student debt. Yeah, people that say, like, people that fucking come to me and say, like, well, you voted for Biden, and you advocated a vote for Biden are so fucking dumb. Like, even when I did that, I still said Biden is not like someone you can convince, and he's still going to be a centrist liberal. I know this. Like, that's your candidate. Yeah, dude, I was so stoked on Joe Biden. Anyway. Unrelated, but are you going to hang out in the hot tub with Amaranth when you're in Texas? No. You should get Rudy Rockman on. It would be interesting to watch. I don't know who the fuck that is, but everyone keeps telling me to watch his videos. Hank, there's no winning. In fighting for Palestinians, I've been called every name there is. People also said I was too loud in calling out the vicious oppression of the occupation. Yes, I loudly denounced the absolute absurdity of religion. Whispering it hasn't helped either. I'm keeping this up because it's also true. No, you're never going to explain all of a complicated situation in one tweet, and thinking that a tweet is the whole sum of a person's thoughts is also absurd, but people denying that religion is a major factor dividing us are just wrong. If you think religion is the only reason for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, that's unsophisticated. But if you think religion has no part, that's pseudo-intellectualism. Huge numbers on both sides believe God is with them and will defeat the others, and this insanity does drive them. I mean, the way I think about it is like, look, I'm not a religious person, okay? I'm not a religious person at all. But like, if God has no basis in this argument, then who gives a fuck which side thinks God is on their side? Like, why even bring that up? You are probably atheist too. Why so much hatred towards atheists? Your uncle included. It's okay to take from him, honestly. I don't have any issue with fucking agnostic people or atheist people. I have an issue with people who are like unironically preaching the gospel of atheism and like being annoying dipshits about it non-fucking stop. Like, it's so stupid. It's so dumb. Like yelling at fucking yelling at people for their religious indoctrination, especially if it doesn't harm anyone. And it's like just their point of view is so stupid. Is one tweet nonstop? What? I'm not talking about jank. I'm just talking. Oh, you mean the chatter said it's nonstop? Or wait, you think I think jank is doing this nonstop? No, I'm talking about fucking anti-theists who just like are Sam Harris cutouts. especially in an instance where like fucking Israel is like relentlessly and mercilessly bombing the living fuck out of Palestinian babies. And then you're like, oh, it's because they believe in sky gods. Like, that's such a fucking crazy take, dude. Like, absolutely unacceptable take. I'm sorry. Which is why I always factor in the r/atheism cringe shit. Anyway. Okay, militant anti-theists suck. Yeah, they're so fucking annoying and cringe. Anyway, let's get back to regular cringe, though. Ben Shabibo. Marjorie Taylor Greene recently came out and said that vaccinated employees get a vaccination logo, just like the Nazis enforced Jewish people to wear a gold star. Vaccine passports and mass mandates create discrimination against unvaxxed people who trust their immune systems to a virus that is 99% survivable. And Ben Shabibo said, this is demented nonsense. Nothing like the Holocaust. Any comparison thereto is both insulting and insane. True. This is an insulting and insane fucking comparison to the Holocaust. I talked about this briefly on the podcast earlier today, but it's like, you're kind of making it seem like the worst part about the Holocaust was just that, you know, Jewish homies just couldn't see their friends because they had to, you know, avoid one another in an effort to you know, like it was just inconveniencing Jews. Like the Holocaust was inconveniencing Jews or something. Like it is so psychotic. Yeah, man. The worst thing about the Holocaust was when I was like, when I had to sit in an attic because I was, you know, doing social distancing. And, you know, not the fucking genocide on the other side. So then Ben, of course, turns around and says, I've also noticed that the media attention on MTG is bizarrely nutso. Holocaust analogy are completely silent by the squad's de facto support for genocidal anti-Jewish terrorist group Hamas. So he was like, I can't have a good take ever. I have to follow that up with a fucking psychotic take, which he did. Like, every single person has been like, Hamas bad, Hamas bad, Hamas bad. But it doesn't matter. He's like, de facto support for anti-Jewish genocidal terrorist group Hamas. Yeah, dude. Oh my God, conservatives. This is a blind spot for you, Ben. Anything that makes you feel like someone isn't in full reverence to Israel and the Jewish people puts you on the defensive. Othering is othering. It's part of the dehumanization process. It happened in World War II and it's happening now. Here's what I gotta say to conservatives that like unironically think that they're being otherized or dehumanized because they don't want to get vaccinated. Shut the fuck up, pussy. Okay? You fucking pussy ass, snowflake ass, whiny ass, goo goo gaga ass baby, dude. I'm being otherized. Like, shut the fuck up. Suck my fucking dick, dude. Fucking just eat shit, okay? Fuck you. Go goo goo gaga somewhere else, you dumb conservative bitch. God damn, dude. These motherfuckers are such babies. Like, me. You're otherizing me. You deserve to be fucking otherized. How about that? Barely functioning organism, dude. Look at this shit. Literally, like, can't even cross two wires together to fucking put together a credible, a cohesive thought. Are all conservatives motherfuckers who are scared to admit they're scared of needles? Like, you're bullying him now? 100%. 100%. I am. I'm not bullying them on the basis of like something that they can't change about themselves. I'm bullying them on the basis of their fucking relentless ignorance that is genuinely causing harm. Okay? Legitimately causing harm. I am. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, shut the fuck up, idiot. You're otherizing me. Like, shut the fuck up, bitch. Yo, this like academic language was already fucking annoying to begin with. Like, Not everything is toxic. Not everything is fucking problematic. Not everything is otherizing or dehumanizing. Even though if you ask motherfuckers on Twitter, like literally everything, you can't just like be an asshole, okay? You can't be just an asshole. You have to be a gaslighting, toxic masculine, the otherizer, okay? No, you're an asshole. Some people are just fucking assholes, okay? Like, you don't have to make it sound way worse by, like, bastardizing academic language. And if you do that, then fucking the CIA is going to take over and straight up use it, okay? So those words don't really mean anything anymore. Congratulations, because the fucking CIA uses it. Yeah, not everything is fucking trauma. It's like, trauma is a specific medical fucking term. Oh, dude, I got trauma from gaslighting. It's like, what happened? Oh, my mom said I was gonna get the pepperoni hot pockets, but instead I got the cheddar hot pockets, the ham and cheddar hot pockets. It's like, what? Dude, if you're getting PTSD from a Twitter post, you need to be locked away. Like, you need to be under 24-hour surveillance, dude. God damn. Shit. That's ableism, of course. Fuck. Bro, who said anarchists? I mean, anarchists do this shit all the time. It's like... It's very problematic that you're making light of the self-observed trauma people experience. Exactly. I am fucking problematic. That shit pisses me off, dude. Guess what, motherfucker? Sorry. More people agree with me than you. And most likely they will never agree with you because it's fucking crazy. It's literally crazy that, like, every single small fucking experience that you've ever had is inflated in your incredibly entitled, incredibly individualistic point of view, and that automatically it's like one of the worst offenses that has ever been committed. God damn, dude. Anyway. Are you going to the Palestine protest in DC on Friday? Yeah, dude, I'm flying to Washington, DC. Many people agreeing on something doesn't make it right. Oh, no, I know. I know it doesn't make it right. Makes me feel good, though. It makes me feel good, and I know it fucking frustrates people that absolutely want that kind of point of view to be mainstream, and it hurts their feelings. So, you know, it's a double whammy for me. And the worst part about it, and this is the last thing I'm going to say before moving on to the absolute worst thing, like, Brett Stevens articles make me advocate for forcible removal of Canadian conservatives from the country. Okay? I'm just going to come out and say it. But before I do that, literally sound like a conservative. Yeah, I know, homophone too. I guess I am. Before I talk about that, what the fuck else was I going to say about the last thing I was going to say about it? Oh, the last thing I was going to say about it is that, like, you yourself aren't the person you claim to be on the internet. Like, 0 people are that fucking annoying all the time and conduct themselves in that same way. You all have problematic faves, Sweaty. You all fucking have, like, reactionary takes from time to time amongst your fucking friends. It's a normal part of being human. We're complex individuals, and we all have privileged blind spots. And what you're supposed to do is recognize the intersectionality of privileged blind spots that you may or may not have and work against them, okay? And not hyper-focus on the minutia and the day-to-day conversations that people have and make your aesthetic preference for language into this, like, woke conquest, as though, like, calling motherfuckers out like this is actually going to genuinely improve the lives of anyone, okay? I'm sorry. Writing that, like, go outside, sweetie, is ableist is not gonna fucking solve ableism. It's not doing anything. You're just hearing your own fucking voice, or saying that, like, actually making fun of people who are picky eaters is ableist. Like, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous take, dude. Okay. Now, before I give this a spin and, like, start saying some shit again about conservative Canadians and how they should be forcibly removed from their homes and sent back to their own countries. I'm just kidding. It's top of the hour, so I'm gonna run a 60-second ad break here, okay? Anyway, oh no, keep them there. As a Canadian, we don't want them here. No, take them back, dude. I mean, it's kind of fucked up to make fun of an autistic person for being a picky eater, but it's just a general statement. It's not as bad. I mean, yeah, I'm a picky eater, motherfucker. I don't eat any seafood. Like, make fun of me all goddamn day, every goddamn day, okay? That shit's crazy. Like, that's what I'm talking about. We're not talking about, like, someone with, like, a very obvious, or even hidden disability, okay? Which prevents them from eating certain foods. Anyway, I'm here from YouTube. I just want to say good stuff. Please don't stop doing the Italian accent on the Mario playthrough. Please, please, please. Per favore. Non sequitur, where you got shouted out by Chelsea Manning on the Brejoy's Gray's Bad Faith podcast. Hell yeah. Bro, deadass, someone called me ableist like a week ago because they asked Regs to ban them from for an hour to study and couldn't turn off Discord themselves. Shut up. Oh my god, my fucking Discord is such a mess, dude. Okay, here's the ad now. Your gluten-free jokes are ableist to celiac sufferers? Oh, 100%. Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna fucking blow through this, okay? I'm gonna try to do my best here, all right? Which mod is your which mod do you like the most, Baba? I can't pick amongst my mods, dude. That's like picking through my fucking children. Are you crazy? Definitely not C-Mac though. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay. In recent years, it has become an article of faith. Okay, first of all, let's start here, actually. Anti-Zionism isn't anti-Semitism. Someone didn't get the memo. And then it's just a dude stepping on the Israeli flag. In recent years, it has become an article of faith on the progressive left that anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism and that it's slander to assume that someone who hates Israel also hates Jews. Not everyone got the memo. Not the people who, waving Palestinian flags and chanting death to Jews, according to a witness, assaulted Jewish diners at a Los Angeles sushi restaurant. This story changes every time I hear it. For the record. Like every time I hear this story, there's like a different component that I was unaware of. Like